Bruh.
Welcome to No Microphone Movie Review Hour. My finger hurts. We just watched...
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
We watched the entire thing. We didn't not watch the end.
Because I need to go home soon.
Yeah.
You didn't do that.
So, get off your phone.
I'm sorry.
Eryn!
I need to fix something on my phone. I'm sorry. It's
No.
not working. My bad.
It's not working.
I'll on this chair. Dude, yeah, we've already seen this. I've seen it at least 1,000 times.
I've seen it 6 times probably.
I've seen it like hundreds of times. You're weak, bro.
Alright.
You're weak.
So question, what should we talk about first?
Animation style?
It has a good animation style. Welcome to the most professional movie review show. This is a good animation style.
It's beautiful.
It's stop motion.
It's stop motion.
Yeah.
It's very well made.
Yes.
By one of the most well-known stop motion animation companies.
Which is?
Something. Sure is something, but I do
Are you
know
thinking
that
of, like,
they made a bunch of them.
Were you thinking of Aardman?
I don't know.
I don't think it's Aardman. I'm gonna see who. Okay, you see them.
Yeah, you dummy head.
Yeah, no swearing on the first channel.
You said I was gonna swear.
Bro,
You
it was a
stupid
reminder.
cuss. You cuss,
You
bro.
cussing with me? Are you cussing with me?
Bro, I'm cussing with
I'm
you,
gonna
bro.
cuss and
What
you're
if-
cussing cuss. I'm
Bro,
gonna cuss.
cuss.
Don't cuss and point.
You're gonna cuss with somebody. You're not gonna cuss with me, you little cuss.
me.
Cuss off.
Cuss off, man. I'm gonna.
Oh, it's filmed by Wes Anderson. He's like,
Yeah, he's a good director, but he's not stop motion. He's just...
yeah, but he does a bunch of stop motion.
Didn't he do Isle of Dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I know. Isle of Dogs and Fantastic Mr. Fox. But he does stop motion that looks very good, very realistic. It is good and well done.
The crying on the characters, they make the characters cry. It's really nice.
Oh, why'd you have to get us into this, Foxy?
Is that weird?
No, yeah,
The
that's...
small detail is very nice.
Yeah, well, like, it has, like, a perfect aesthetic because, like, scenes are not shot to be realistic so much as they're shot to, like, show, like, a visual progression.
Show emotion.
That's
Well,
not what's... Okay.
Yeah, I said it shows emotion. You said whatever you said.
Okay, change the subject. Just go ahead. Do it.
Then I'm doing it. I'm doing it right now.
Alright, but, like how whenever anyone dies, the X's just appear on their eyes. Like, there's a lot of inherently goofy things about the way they executed that, it does a good job of, like, balancing, like, stuff that happens in life. Like,
Realism and...
Yeah, heavy-handed, emotional realism, and the goofy,
Cartoonist.
whimsical, cartoonishness.
Yeah. They balance it perfectly.
Yeah, and, like, my favorite thing about this movie is the story, because it's such a real story, but at the same time it's still positive, you know? Like, it's basically about, you in trying to do the thing that you thought was fun, you screwed up everyone's lives, and now you're gonna pay for it, and we're all gonna die miserably, but in the time that we have, why don't we just care for each other, you know? It's about, like, that's what
It's also about being different. That subplot.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot of themes in it. But, like, my favorite one is, like, there's a lot of stories that deal with, like, the idea that all we have is time to do the things we want to do to the best of our ability. Did the camera just freaking turn off? Okay, no. It's, like, all we have is time to do what we're going to do to the best of our abilities. But there's so many movies that ignore that, and they're like, it's all about, oh yeah, the good people ultimately win in the end. And, like,
yeah.
Like, it's all about, like, oh, good's definitely better than evil. But realistically, it's like good and bad mixes together.
Yeah.
And it's like, this movie does a very good way of presenting it, and still being, like, for children, you know?
Yeah. It's like, I get what you mean by that, because, like,
Yeah.
it's not just good. Real life is not just about good people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's about integrating the positive and the negative of
in all
everything.
people.
Yeah, because you don't get forward by just going right or left. You have to
Yeah.
balance. and like
there is no person that is all good.
Yeah.
All
and like it's also like super existential, like because like there's also like so many movies where it's not just about that, but it's the idea of like whenever there's a bad thing that happens, you just beat it and win, and boom, everything's better. But this movie's not about that. It's about life is a process of losing, and in living your life, you have to find something worth living it for that makes the losing worthwhile.
Yeah.
And so like I like how there's like the theme about being different and like dealing with your insecurities. Like if you're a kid watching this, that's what you're gonna recognize. But if you're an adult watching this, you're gonna notice like the more existential stuff.
Yeah.
And I like it's just so multifaceted. It's like a really complicated novel, but just in a short, goofy movie, and that's what makes it great.
I don't know. I just like really like how each character is presented.
Yeah, the characters are also like that. The best way to tell a story is you have to have good characters to drive it.
And this has really good characters. Very good.
Yeah, because like there are just so many stories where it's like, and I have problems with this every time I try to write a story, but I just can't write like good characters that are all different, you know?
Yeah, they're all. Yeah, some of them are very flat.
Yeah.
Like Christopherson is like, he's flat kind of.
He is, but like it's able to develop
it develops a little bit more.
Like it's good at like a story. You can't have every character be round and dynamic because then the story will be never ending and it'll be all over the place.
But later it goes on into like just because he's great at everything doesn't mean he's emotionally vulnerable.
He's used as a tool to build up Ash's arc.
Right, yeah.
Because like it's mainly about the actual Mr. Fox's arc and Ash's arc, and they're both the two protagonists.
Yeah.
And it's all about them trying to find acceptance. And like when you're a kid, Mr. Fox, it'll just be like the scene at the end where he sees the wolf and he's just like he's confronting his phobia. As a kid, you're like, why is this here?
Yeah,
this is dumb.
What is that?
But when you're adult and you're seeing that, you're like, wow, that's so poignant. Because like a kid is gonna watch this and pay attention to
Dude, as a kid,
Ash.
I never got that scene.
Yeah, me neither. I was just like, why is this in here?
What's the point of that?
But it's all about facing your fears of like the fear of being responsible, you know? Because Mr. Fox doesn't want to be responsible because he's worried it's gonna take all the meaning out of his life, you know?
He doesn't want to just have a white picket fence family. He wants to go out and do things for himself. Yeah. But that doesn't understand that that's not how that's gonna work.
Yeah, and he's afraid of the wolf, which is like it symbolizes this constant fear of you need to be taking care of yourself and your family, and you're not doing that, and like he's kind of always ignoring it, and so that's I really like that about this movie, and then also like
symbolism.
Yeah, it's really great, and then I feel like in a way. Because we should, like, if we're going to be balanced about this week, I'm just going to find something to criticize. I feel like the farmers kind of, I don't know, like, the role they play, it's like, it makes perfect sense and everything, but I feel like the three farmers, it's like they're kind of in the story a little bit too much. They kind of, like... They're a good representation of like...
They're more for the funnies and the more cartoonish type of...
Yeah.
Because their whole shtick is just like... I don't know, it's just like all convenient.
Their role in the story is to force Mr. Fox to be responsible, like, in terms of his arc.
Right.
But I feel like the way they did that kind of doesn't entirely mesh well. Because, like, whenever you see the stuff with, like, the fox and the characters, you're like, oh, okay, this is interesting, but then it cuts to your farmers and you're like, I don't care about the humans. You know? So I feel like that's one of the places it could have improved in, but I mean, like, this is definitely one of my favorite movies. It's in probably my top 10 or 15 favorite movies. I really like it.
Yeah, I should make a list about those. I just say that I like a movie.
I've always had, like, a weird habit of, like, ranking things in lists and stuff, and it's just...
I mean, that's always fun, isn't it?
Sort of. But then it's also, you also think about it too much. You're like, oh, should this be in 5th place or 4th place?
Right.
I don't know.
Right. I can't do that. That's just too much pressure, I feel like.
Yeah, it is. It's
because I love so many movies, and I can't just, like, put them all in order. I don't feel like that'd be right. You know
it's also, it's like you think of, like, oh, okay, these movies, and then you remember another movie, and you're like, oh, crap, I have to change the list. Yeah. Gosh darn it. Oh, cuss.
Oh, cuss. Oh, cuss.
Yeah. What about the humor in this movie?
Oh, the humor's so funny. it's
like humor.
dry, but like also
Yeah.
They put a lot more. It's dry, but they make it funny.
That's British humor for you. It's all about dry. It's all about like the wit behind whatever's being said.
Yeah, it's smart.
Yeah, but like there's also what I like is like it takes advantage of that, but it also takes advantage of like a more American style of humor, like callbacks and like ongoing gags, like when all the dogs eat the blueberries, their eyes go boo.
Yeah.
And when people die, their eyes go boo.
Yeah.
And Mr. Fox does the thing.
Yeah. Can't whistle very well, so.
And Kylie does the thing. It's like all these little things, and that's one of the really good ways that they make all the characters so different. Is they all have
signature little things, little movements or sounds.
Like the nocturnal mole or whatever. He plays the piano. That's just an extra thing they added in that makes the world a little bit more realistic, you know. But like the humor and like like the little gags, and then the way they set up scenes so that they play out with like good comedic timing and stuff. It's a good blend of like British and American styles of humor and comedy, I feel. And it definitely, like, if this movie was all emotional, no one would really like it because it'd be so sad. But like
I don't know, I feel like both adults and children can relate with this comedy, because it's like, with children it's like, oh, funny sounds, funny imagery, you know what I mean? But like,
adventure.
Yeah, like very, funny, ha ha ha.
Drama.
Like, adults are like, oh, that's clever, that's good, that's funny.
Yeah, this movie is like...
They put some thought into that.
It's so good for, like, all people,
all ages.
Yeah, like... Because, like, when you're a kid, you kind of block out the intense stuff, like, oh, wow, he's straight up causing the deaths of people. But as a kid, you're just like, oh, he made a mistake, huh? Yeah.
It's too bad for him.
Sucks.
Sucks to be you.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the backgrounds in this movie? I don't know, I just really love the backgrounds. They're so well put in.
Alright, we just did.
No, no, I meant like the actual physical backgrounds.
Yeah.
We didn't do that!
Oh, just now we just did.
Nuh-uh.
Like, literally just now we talked about the backgrounds.
I'll your mouth, bro. I mean, I'll
Wow.
But anyway, so much detail in the background.
I'll pee on your dried up pubis.
Bruh. Bruh.
Bruh.
Bruh.
Bruh.
Bruh.
So, what do you want to say about the backgrounds?
The backgrounds, like, they're very detailed, small details in the background.
You were planning that in the bathroom, weren't you?
No, I peed in the bathroom, bro.
Oh, that's so gross. Not my bathroom.
So gross.
Why would you do that in the bathroom?
I'm sorry, dude. Not in your bathroom. My bad. Anyway,
Go ahead. About the backgrounds.
The details in the backgrounds are just so, like, they're so precise, and I just like the way the background moves against like the characters. It's very nice.
The entire
So
cinematography,
many details.
and this is like kind of a Wes Anderson kind of thing.
Yeah.
He does it so that it's extremely straightforward, and so that rather than, and I mentioned this kind of before a little bit, but rather than to facilitate the idea of a realistic world, it facilitates the progression of where things are happening and what things are happening.
Yeah. And it's so colorful.
Yeah.
It's so pretty.
And like everything mixes together very well. It's like details are like
very nice to look at. Very nice at it.
And like characters are always like centered in the picture. It's not like walking across. It's gonna be the camera's gonna follow them wherever they go.
Yeah.
It's always they're in the center.
Yeah.
And they're always either facing to the front, to the side, or to the back, and it's never like tilted. It's very like
it's very straightforward. Very straight.
Yeah, and like that's a very unique aspect of Wes Anderson movies.
Yeah.
Like it's focused on kind of making it look kind of like a picture book rather than a movie, you know.
Right.
And I think that's pretty cool.
Wait, isn't this the same company that like did the Coraline thing?
I don't know. I haven't seen Coraline.
You haven't seen Coraline?
No. You should bring it next
Looks
time
into
you come
the
over.
office like it's the looks into the camera like it's The Office.
I haven't seen that either.
What? How? Okay, whoa. How has he not seen any of these great movies and just he decided to make? He decided to make.
I'm gonna make
babies. Anyway.
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 Yeah. Nothing happened. It's all cool.
It'll be cut out anyway, hopefully.
What? No. I don't go that in depth with my editing.
You don't cut stuff out?
Sometimes. Like if I need to.
Okay.
But like, what else?
Music.
With this? Oh yeah! Oh my gosh! You're right. The music, because so basically the soundtrack it either relies on other songs that already exist or just this one melodic and harmonic idea of the nursery rhyme that they have.
Yeah, the music is used to move the story forward.
I'll remember to cut that out then.
But yeah, it's like what do you mean no heck?
No.
Right? What?
Well, that's how music is used, but like
No, not in most movies. They're just used to in the background for no apparent reason.
No, they're used to contribute to the tension because art's like that.
Well, yeah.
Art's all about tension and resolution. Well, like
this one is especially made for the music is made for the movie.
Yeah.
And it's
like
for each scene.
Yeah, because like the music, it doesn't. Most of the time, it generally doesn't focus at all on the tension or resolution. It's more about just having the music to kind of fit the scene and
it plays off that Bogus
Bunsen
bunch.
Banana bunch.
Yeah, it's played off the Bogus Bunsen bean little spooky rhyme the kids.
Yeah, and like the way they change it, because when it starts out the that's just kind of a goofy nursery rhyme, but then they change it so it's like
yeah, and like they make it like very.
It gets very dramatic.
Also, one of my favorite songs in here is Christopherson's theme.
I don't remember that one.
Well, I'll add it to the gay list later.
All right.
It's very nice.
Just dump all your favorites on the gay list.
Yeah. You know how much. Oh, that'd be a lot of songs.
Yeah, you have like 1,000 in
I
there.
have like almost 2,000 songs.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
No, but like with the music, my favorite song is the Stunt Expo song. Because like that's when he's finally trying to stand up directly instead of running away and hiding.
Yeah.
And like, well, that one and the Canis Lupus song, they're both the climactic moments of the movie for Mr. Fox. And they're rearranged versions of the melody and the harmonies of the nursery rhyme to really like fit the scene. Like it sounds so dramatic, and it's also the sense like the way the first two chords go. It's like rather than being like a dramatic like oh heck yeah the hero's winning. It's like it feels like a grinding battle with reality and with life.
Right.
Like I don't know. There's something about the mood that's set up by those first two chords that just it perfectly fits like the whole mood of this movie, which is like. It's exciting and dramatic. Like life is exciting and dramatic, but in the end, it's a grind.
Yeah.
It's a grind, and you lose things, and it's a struggle, and it kind of sucks. But like that's my favorite thing about this movie is just how, like how multifaceted it is, but how complicated it is, but also just how realistically it presents the good and the bad of life.
It's very good at balancing all that out.
And
really good.
The Canis Lupus song is almost like a really calmer version. Like he's more at peace, but it's still eerie. Like rather than being afraid, he's now like he's come to terms with his fear. Because he's still afraid, but he's dealing with it. He's choosing what to do.
All right.
It's like the whole hero's journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite scene in the movie.
Favorite. Well. Probably one of the scenes I just mentioned, like the Canis Lupus scene or the Stunt Expo scene. Well, the scene, I feel like, from when they get into the little car, like that entire thing, that's just like, it's like a winding down of the story, but it's like you're touching down back to reality. It's like It's like it's like the moment at like a really long party when you're just kind of chilling there and things suddenly become really real but also really calm.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like that, and it feels so, like, drowning, but also it's not bad. It's just, like...
You're there.
It's like you're suddenly struck by reality, and you're like...
Right.
And, like, everyone around you is, like, and, like, no one's talking. You're all just kind of sitting there. It's like, it's relaxing, but it's like a huge tidal wave, you know? Where it's, like in the movie when it shows a tidal wave and there's no sound. Just like...
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that.
My favorite scene is... It's either the rat fight.
Rat fight's pretty good.
Rat fight. And it's like, or the one where, Mr. Fox is talking to the wife. Under the tinfoil waterfall and stuff. Like
Oh
that.
yeah, for some reason I thought of Undertale and the waterfall in Undertale, and like the bridge where the monster falls. Oh yeah, but this movie, it's bruh.
Sorry, my dad called me. Oh god, my dad called me. I'm about to get beat on camera.
Stay tuned.
Verbally.
So, would you recommend this movie?
Yes.
Yes, obviously.
Yes.
I would give it.
Sorry, guys.
I would give it a 96 out of 100.
Yeah. Yeah. No. It's like. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Love you.
Yeah, 96 out of 100. What would you give it?
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I'm going normal route. Okay.
See, I want to start doing like my own Rotten Tomatoes thing, right? Rate every movie, even though it's probably going to be real inconsistent. Like, I'm going to change the Mario movie rating. I'm going to give that a 38 instead of a 4. Mario movie.
Oh, 38.
Yeah, first review. This one is a 96, or even possibly a 98. You said 10 out of 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of the best animated movies of all time, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I encourage you to check it out.
It's like if you want to watch something that can be either very light or very heavy, you should watch this.
Yeah.
If you want to watch something that's interesting and unique, that's nothing like what you've really ever seen, you should check this out.
You can take it any way you want.
This isn't your daddy's Illumination film.
Yeah, exactly.
This ain't no Despicable Me BS.
You can make it feel however you want it to feel like. Honestly,
that's
you
what
can
she
take
said.
it either way.
That's what she said. Alright, I think that concludes the review.